it's with great sadness and heavy heart that I have to announce the passing. Not really announce because the story's been broke for 4 days, but if you haven't, world lost a true legend in every sense of the word, and now we can really that it's all over. We can really look back at the career of Chyna and really put it into perspective. Chyna was a legend. For all her personal demons that she suffered outside of the ring, for everything she accomplished in the ring, will never be able. Will always overshadow that. The Slamcast family extends its heartfelt condolence to the Lowell family and everybody associated with Joni. Rest in peace. Man, it seems like we're doing this like tributes more and more, and
way too often.
Way too often. And this one was a complete, because to lose someone before the age of 50 like that, and someone who had especially been as physically fit as Chyna was, is just really truly shocking. And I mean, like everyone has known and been reported to death all of her various substance abuse problems and emotional issues that she's had since leaving the public spotlight. But that's all kind of irrelevant in a situation like this because, you know, a human being's life is lost. And again, there will never be another. You will never see another woman hold the Intercontinental title, or it's going to be a very, very, very long time before you see anybody even that question even being broached in a creative meeting. You know, truly one of wrestling's great female pioneers, because you know, she didn't blaze a trail for anybody. She was essentially Jackie Robinson, essentially. You know, a woman that was actually taken seriously and believably booked, booked to people believe men.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize right until game time, she was booked to beat Steve Austin at some for the WWF title. And they decided to go in a different direction at the last minute, but up until the actual event, I believe she was booked to actually win. I mean, that should tell you what they thought of her as an attraction.
Yeah, I mean, definitely attraction. She was definitely one of the biggest female attractions in the history of professional wrestling.
Yeah, in an age where a lot of the female talent were very, how do I put, kind of girl. They weren't muscular. They weren't imposing.
It was either the spectrum was you had your Sunnies and your Marlenas.
Yep.
That were, not attractive, but not at all threatening or physically imposing in any way. And then you had, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum,
but she was brought in to capitalize on that whole freak show aspect.
Yeah. But she still competed. That's why I put her on the spectrum. Chyna, I guess, would you call that the happy medium of those two? Because
right in the middle. Yeah, she was good looking, but she was imposing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to put Chyna. She was imposing.
She wasn't good looking in the traditional sense, but there was something about her confidence and someone that, that she made the female muscular form beautiful.
Yeah, and, for a lot of people don't realize that in that post-Sunny and Sable, but pre-Trish era, like that 99, 2000, 2001 era, there was no one bigger than Chyna. I mean, as far as the Divas division, yeah, you had a lot of underlying, cast in characters, but she was at the peak of that division. I mean, she transcended it almost. And
she was the division.
Yeah, and I didn't grow up as a fan of wrestling when Sunny were the top divas in the division. I came in in 2000, so to me she was like the star. Like she was the biggest attraction that they had there. I mean, Trish was still kind of only just now getting her feet wet in the business. I think she was still managing Test and Albert at the time.
Yep, and Trish came from the fitness modeling world too.
Right. So you can kind of say that she that kind of and I'm not embarrassed to say it. Like I said, I didn't come in when Sable did her spread for Playboy. I was around when Chyna did hers, and we all shit on that spread that she did. It's not that bad. I'm not going to say, in 2000 when she rounded off her chin and she was looking a lot more feminine, I'll say it, there was no one hotter than her, like, at the time. Like, she really did grow into kind of the happy medium between a believable ass-kicking woman and somebody who was, beautiful, and even in the traditional sense.
She made that look beautiful, like, where you couldn't not admire the amount of time that she spent crafting that physical form that she had, and there was actually a thing of beauty about that. And I never felt that way about like muscular women before, but again, something about it, just the way it did, the confidence and the way she projected herself, made herself more beautiful than she was, even more beautiful than she was.
Right, and I think people forget about that because we think of her in her later years, with a lot of the abuse.
Well, you've seen the thing more Trainwreck Chyna.
Yeah, we think of it in that regard, but a lot of people don't realize that in her time in WWE, she was the gimmick. She was a fitness person. She kept a very clean lifestyle. You hear stories of people that worked with her in the back, the WWE, and she was all about keeping a high level of quality body-wise, and it wasn't until the unfortunateness happened towards the end of her career that she started to slip into a lot of the troubles. And I don't want to go too far into the stories.
No, because
we don't. Let's say a positive aspects.
I don't like to speak ill of the dead.
Yeah,
I think that's the one thing that her death has kind of done. The one positive aspect is it's gotten people to focus on, the positive aspects of her life.
The greatness about her life, and not the...
It was so unique about her,
and
everything that was special.
And I want to acknowledge this, because I know somebody is going to say something about it. Yes, over the years, jokes, we've all critical of we've all said things. At the end of the day, we're fans. We can criticize and yet still love. That's the sport aspect of being a sports entertainment fan. We can criticize. I criticize the Mets all the time, but I'm still going to follow them. I'm still going to watch their, whatever I can catch because I'm a fan. Yes, we criticize Chyna, just like we criticize Sunny. If Sunny,
just
if it
like
was
we criticized Hogan in the past.
Yeah, if tomorrow we found out that Tammy Sitch, passed away, we would be saying nice things about her too. We wouldn't, poke fun at her recent video or anything like that. We would be very respectful, and that's what we're doing.
Are there people that are going to be assholes? Yes.
Yes.
People are going to be fucking dicks. But the end of the day, you look at the Chyna on wrestling, because remember when she came in, she ended up being Triple H's bodyguard, dragged over to Mark, again, imposing woman, bear hugging this blonde and just shaking the shit out of her.
I mean, she was shaking baby syndrome, but I mean, I'm glad now we're focusing on the positive aspects of her. I mean, the one thing a lot around the internet is the pictures of her and Eddie together and how great that angle was.
Oh, that was
it was.
Awesome Kong just shared that Chyna's connections, that people, whether it was connections or inspiration or is she talent can say.
Now here's the $10,000 question. Now does she go into the WWE Hall of Fame as a posthumous inductee?
I think so. I think, and
Yes.
it's tragic that that's going to, I think now they can get away with bringing her name back without having her, for lack of better terms, fucking it up for them marketing-wise.
The stigma, I think, is finished now
Mm-hmm.
because she's no longer with us.
Yeah.
So I think that would make them more inclined to put her in the Hall of Fame. And Death has a way of doing that. I mean, Death is again, forgiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason why we were finally able to get Randy Savage into because that is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's another one of those things where, Chyna probably would have had a great induction speech, but it's like, you know what? It sucks it had to be this long.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm going to try not to hint at the unpleasantness, but you talk about the Hall of Fame, that immediately comes up, the whole backstory thing, and I would hope that they would be adult enough to, allow her an induction, even if it means you have to have somebody like a Mick Foley be the one to induct her, which I think would probably be the best. We had one person who...
Oh, if there's anybody bring out every positive and wonderful thing about Chyna, it's going to be Mick Foley.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the safest way to go. And I'm going to say this, because I was going to say this earlier, but I'm going to say it now. I have friends of mine who dislike wrestling, who aren't big fans of it, who just don't get it. Even they were posting articles and posting their opinions about Chyna in a positive light. So she had a crossover appeal. In fact, if it hadn't been for the unfortunate, tragic loss that we had shortly after Chyna, which cool your shit 2016, then I think you probably still get a couple more days of people talking about Chyna. Unfortunately, we lost a legend in the music industry, so that kind of overshadowed Chyna a bit.
I know, it's with a heavy heart I'm doing this podcast, trust me, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm soldiering on.
Yes.
Well, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Exactly. That's how I was going to start the podcast, but I thought that was
we don't need to piggyback one death onto the back of another.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, man. We
right.
did it, a solid eulogy on Chyna. I mean,
Yes.
again, if you're listening to this podcast and you didn't think about the WWE Network, you can go back and watch
do yourself a favor, folks. If nothing else, go back and look up the stuff between her and Jericho for the IC title.
Yes.
That was kind of her kind of coming out party of sorts in terms of being the megastar that she was.
She became, yep.
And the Eddie Guerrero stuff, you can definitely look up. That was pretty good.
Oh, the Eddie Guerrero stuff, man.
And not to slight a woman, but it just really shows that those two talents could work with anybody and get...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And even then, I would also say go out and look for what I think was her last feud before they let her go, which was her feud with the Right to Censor. I vividly remember that because that match led to her winning the title at WrestleMania X7. So yes. I would highly recommend, which I thought was, I remember when I saw that, I was like, fuck me. Like, I'd never seen anybody jump while doing a...
I always thought she was going to amount to a lot more. It certainly looked like it was trending up that way, but...
well, remember, she was champ when they decided to end her contract. So
yeah. I think it was also... She was probably looking to transition into other things.
I don't know how much of that I believe because I've heard that from years, but I've also heard that from certain people who would have a benefit of kind of, downplaying her success in the company. We won't say who, but I don't know. Like, I think the truth about that is in the middle. Like, how long would she have been in the company? Like, would she have been alongside the rise of people like Lita and Trish at the time? Who knows? I think those people. I think those wrestlers would have probably had great feuds. We never really got to see them, but it's tragic.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And you look where the women's division is now. It's finally back to women that can wrestle. That it's about wrestling and not divas and not this butterfly belt. It's starting to transition back into these beautiful women, but actually, kick your ass.
Athletic competition.
Yes.
Now,
that's the best way to put it.
Athletic competition is now the primary focus, and it's not a beauty content. It's not filler entertainment anymore. It's its own...
Yeah, I said it before. I quoted a Shining Masato song. 2-minute matches on a butterfly belt a few weeks or so. Well, since we said all they're going to say about Chyna, Shada Bacardi.
Enjoy her however you remember her, however you
Yes.
like.
I choose to remember the positives about Chyna.
Exactly. You will never see anyone like her ever again.
Oh,
No.
never.
So the other big story in a really, I don't know if this was a slow news week to me.
Well,
or just
hold on a second. It just dawned on me. We kind of went immediately into the Chyna tribute. We should introduce ourselves before we go into the actual
Oh, yeah. I figured if you are listening to the Slamcast by now, you know who the three of us are. I am Brandon Liggan. This is Nick Horaceck and Miguel Leon. And it's been a slow news week. We are in the middle of the payback build.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bullet Club teases galore. I didn't watch Raw, but I'm
Gallows and Anderson attacked Roman.
I'm tingling with the prospect.
I'm
of what's
so
happening.
curious about what they're doing with this.
We had big news. We had big news coming out of Lowell, Massachusetts. Big breaking news. Let's talk the breaking news first before we talk.
Yes, this was literally just a couple hours ago, right before we get ready to record, because we had a major title change.
The old-fashioned house show title change, which doesn't usually mean good things. Samoa, by this podcast, is your new NXT World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Finn Balor in a house show in Lowell, Massachusetts. Enough to say he beat Kurt. I went back and I read that on the internet and I remembered that. I think it's a strange thing that they gave him the belt on a house show, and I don't know if that...
It's been we've had...
Yeah, it's been a very long time, and usually when you do a show title change, it's usually emergency, quick, we have to get the belt off of him on somebody new.
It's going to be a deal. Bob Backlund dropped to Hogan, built to Dink.
15 seconds.
Yep.
Unheard of. It's been a long time. I don't know the last time it happened.
I was thinking, I remember in overseas.
Yeah, they usually, that's when they would do it, to give the overseas fans something, and then usually by the next American television, they have them be being champions back.
But I love this because it shows that, anything can happen at a house show. Because you're Finn Balor.
Yeah, I, though, me being the eternal pessimist, I can't help but believe that there is something seriously champion for sharing that video for everybody to see. There wasn't, but we'll have to keep our ears tuned. I think, though, they're changing this, maybe something wrong. And that's how they did it.
Or, very hopeful that it's, maybe Finn.
Maybe something too sweet will be happening.
Yes.
I see.
That's me very whole. I hope to God,
the
great God, that Finn's not hurt.
They're going to be in Poughkeepsie on Saturday. 3 days. Come on now.
You're going to show him Poughkeepsie?
I'm try.
I've got my ticket for Ann.
We had to go and hatch because of $20.
Well, wait a minute. Here's the thing that's better for you is their house show run here. They testing a Nakamura Joe potential feud because they're doing several. They did do house show in the Orlando Nakamura. That could be what you have to look forward to, and it might be for the title.
And that's what I'm thinking. Maybe just would love to see just one big monstrous dominating every reign. There's another takeover June.
Stop my tune to get so.
Yes, and we somehow managed to cram a Dragon Ball bridge and then
Please. This is going to be interesting, and like I said, NXT continues to shock and make it arguably the thing WWE produces on a week-to-week basis.
Yep. Me and Nick have had a theory of emphasis that they've been doing on a lot of, what the fans want, and a lot of the Indian have been on the roster. We know as that post-WrestleMania lull. Do you think it's a way for WWE to kind of reaffirm their day we can go, well, clearly the ratings are low because Rio back into the main event. That will bring the ratings up.
And quality of the product.
This is WWE we're talking.
I think WWE knows that too. I think, they're acutely aware, invent the wheel as far as their product, but they're gonna try and spice it up now and then want to consume the product, and they want them to in their own way.
I want to be hopeful. Like I said, they're on an upswing, and I every second. Eventually, you're gonna turn that corner, and that big fucking baby.
I know the unstoppable wall that is John Cena.
I don't think it's going to be John Cena anymore. I don't think John Cena is not at that part of a career where he might get maybe one more run, but he's never going to be. His
days are numbered. Honestly, he's been out a while, and it's.
I don't think his days are numbered. I just think his time as that guy has been numbered.
He's the guy.
Well, no. I use John Cena as an example, but I'm thinking more along the lines of
how they wanted Roman Reigns to be, how they wanted Daniel Bryan, maybe. I
want to be hopeful, and I hate to be that guy to burst your bubble, but I always feel like even just a little bit, because
there were people that wanted Joe to beat Finn in Dallas, and
I was one of them.
That would have been the better ending, and
well, it could be a situation where they're now rushing to get the Bullet Club together, and so they wanted to get Finn on the roster as quick.
I don't think him. I think him showing up with the NXT title only elevates. I don't know, man.
I mean, it's only Thursday where I'm at, so this just happened.
Yeah. This is a complete left fielder, though. Like, I'm not saying we're all on them every house show, Luke, but
every time,
or every 5 years house show thing.
Yeah, keep it special. Don't run it around.
Get like the Zack Ryder special. You get a Zack Ryder moment once every house show. Again, I think championship away from being a Grand Slam champion.
Oh my God!
Future Hall of Famer Zack Ryder.
Holy shit!
All I'm saying. Okay. Now on to some MMA news before we get hell on out of here. A cryptic tweet saying, I made enough money, basically, and their mother went scrambling to every media outlet. They don't want to call an emergency. The whole thing is that McGregor did Diaz. Now he is now off. Official, as of now, press time off that card.
Yes.
Well, supposedly read is he was initially going to go full-on retirement, but due to the anti-doping laws that the Unified Rules of MMA has, 4 months after you come unretired. So he couldn't fully commit to being retired. So I don't. It's
I think, you know what I think it is? I think they were negotiating, and this is my one weapon that I have. I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna say I retire, and then let you have to deal with that shitstorm. That I'm not gonna fight, and that's basically kind of what's been happening now. UFC is quickly scrambling, A, to get Connor back into the match, and then B, can't get him back into the fight in finding somebody that's going to at least be a comparable draw to him. Although,
what does it officially mean when you retire? And what I mean by that is, like I said, with the Unified Rules of MMA, you cannot fight 4 months after you unretire. So, since he said it over Twitter that he was retired, does that legally stick?
I don't think Twitter is legally binding. That's my stance. I don't think anything said over social media is legally binding.
Right.
Like, you could say that as one thing, and you just said, a temporary change of heart. He did just watch a guy die right in front of him a few days prior.
Right.
And he had always been outspoken about the potential head trauma that have to go through. I think that this could be a combination of negotiations being hot and heavy, stress of seeing someone die in front of you in your sport, and ego. Lots of ego.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to kind of put an addendum on what you had mentioned with the potential of having Connor come back to fight at 200, according to Dana himself appearing on SportsCenter, that fight's pretty much off. Connor McGregor versus Nate Diaz is not happening. Now, Dana cutting replacements. I know Tyron Woodley, for instance, had petitioned online over Twitter as far as wanting to be the guy to replace Connor against Nate Diaz at UFC 200, which would be interesting. But according to his mouth, as of the airing of SportsCenter today, which was according to MMA Junkie 8 o'clock, it's done. That match is... So I don't know. Dana White said that by the end of this year, maybe going into next year, we could see Connor fighting again. But there's also talk that the upcoming Edgar Aldo fight might be for an interim belt.
Yeah, I think there'll be. I think, like I said, there's going to be a freeze on his position because again they've reached some sort of, as all issues probably amongst athletes and his cut of the money. So I think once that gets settled, he'll be back in it. But I don't believe he's retired or for any moment ever considered walking away from it. I think him being him, constant showman, that was just to get people. People hadn't talked about Conor McGregor in a while, so give him something to talk about.
Well, let me ask you this, though, not having any till the 17. Does this pretty much lower Connor's stock? I mean, he's just coming off of his first big loss. There was already fear that the hype train may have derailed, but now you're going from that to a months-long freeze, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of like you come in hot and then all that distance, So does this hurt?
Marginally so. I think, once for NAS term a lot radioactivity to him, toxicity, but I think once some other people lose, we'll give our predictions for that as we end the segment, but it's eye to him, and now he's looking at him to be the savior now after, for a while, he was, he was an outcast, persona non grata. Now he's going to come back into the spotlight, I think, after this weekend. I think eventually the first fight in New York, I think he'll be fighting, I think.
Well, we'll talk more about John Jones then.
Let's break down every fight on the card. I mean, you want to talk about the Demetrius Johnson fight, we can talk about that. John Jones and OSP is really...
I think they're feeding OSP to John Jones. I've never been...
Oh, absolutely. OSP is A, getting the biggest payday of his career, or professional career, and B, to complete his redemption story.
Because I'm thinking, who else could they have put in that slot that could have taken over? Because I know Rumble just got off of surgery, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he just had a fight and he just lost, too. He lost his last two fights.
Rumble's injured. Gus just had a fight.
They just signed...
Let me check, 'cause I do remember them saying that Rampage Jackson was back into the fray. Let me actually take a look at that. No, he was signed to the UFC at one point. And this is according to Wikipedia. On April 7th, Jackson was removed from the card after his most recent employer belting for the UFC after it was alleged that he breached a deal signed in 2013. So it looks like what happened was he was signed to the UFC, but he hadn't fully released himself from Bellator, So now he's back in Bellator. It looks like he's going to be fighting Satoshi Ishii at Bellator 157. Oh, no, wait, no, he was expected to, because 157 already happened. So I don't know where the fuck he is. He might still be signed for Bellator, but he might be on a freeze.
But I'm saying he's one of the people that could have filled in if he was a part of the company. There's 205 is kind of sparse right now. DC had kind of cleared it out. Rashad Evans just fought last weekend. There's not many people at 205 for John Jones to face, really. Someone would have had to move up, or someone from the heavyweight would have had to move down.
Yeah, you would have needed, an Anderson Silva, for instance, to have moved up to face him, which would have been a hell of a fight, but he just lost to Bisping. I guess, they're feeding OSP to him, if only because there's no one left that's a name that they could really put in there. OSP is kind of the only other guy I can think of. Kind of sucks, because I would have loved to see him and Phil Davis fight, but Phil Davis is in Bellator now. Anybody else there? Oh,
No, sorry.
I'm still here, just...
I ate pizza.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Sorry,
So-
I got my drink.
Yeah. I'm thinking we pretty much set Friday. So predictions for this weekend, we've seen the John Jones redemption story, winner
Yep.
and interim light heavyweight champion, setting up a match between him and Daniel Cormier whenever Cormier is fit. I think that we're all three in lockstep with that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So John Jones, what does he win by? I'm going John Jones by decision. Anybody got a knockout or submission happening?
I got a knockout. I see John Jones just knocking him flat out.
I see about 2 or 3 pokes to the eye with the thumb. That's kind of John Jones'
that weird hand. Remember that weird hand thing that he does, like where he just like kind of waves his hand out in emotion, like you are getting very sleepy.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but it'll be the same old John Jones, I think. And we'll remember why some people hate him now because
he's the heel of UFC.
Now he is, yeah. But for a while he was the golden boy.
Yeah.
Now he's the heel. Now he's playing the heel character.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
side note, did you guys see the video of the Stockton slap being added to EA UFC? Just a weird kind of...
I had heard of it. I hadn't seen it. Let me see.
Yeah, they added the Diaz Stockton slap thing to UFC too, and I guess it was the clip of somebody knocking somebody out within the game. I just thought I'd bring that out because when we're gonna get a chance to talk about EA UFC 2 on this show.
I just bought it actually.
I still need to pick it up. I haven't had the money.
I have the money, and I got it luckily used on GameStop. What's up?
Nice.
Yup. I got really actually lucky on that one. I'll talk about a lucky find. I don't know if this is podcast killing material, but
fuck it.
Got it used. I got the fucking the deluxe edition with all the DLC for Ultimate Team, which now I guess every EA game has to have its own Ultimate Team version now. But yeah, so I got like a $60 game for $40.
Awesome.
Winner chicken
I'll
dinner,
drink
right?
to that.
Exactly. So Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
I've got one.
You got one before that, or the one thing before Iron Sheik tweet of the week?
No, I've got the well.
Hold up 1 second.
If you've got an Iron Sheik tweet of the week already, be more than happy to. But I have an Iron Sheik tweet of the week that I like. But go ahead.
I was gonna go. The Chyna love the legend. She make what the Moolah did and make it best for the lady in wrestling. Hashtag RIP Chyna.
That was
Couldn't
it.
have said it better myself.
Yeah, I actually kind of not paraphrased, but I kind of quoted in the immortal words of the Iron Sheik, the 2016 need to stop being the fucking jabroni.
2016 needs to stop being a jabroni, indeed.
Yeah.
So on that note, plugs. Somebody go first.
Lawn Boys Post 1975 on YouTube, the home of the Bristol Brawler, Dave Wade, and his obscure video game reviews and his Vloggy Waffles vlogs and all that goodness. So check that out. Great friend of the show, and since I've got nothing really to promote myself, I figured I'd throw Dave a bone and promote his YouTube channel. So Lawn Boys Post 1975 on YouTube, the home of Dave.
Okay, did you already do Iron Sheik tweet of the week, or is...
We did it. Yeah, I didn't need music.
Fair enough.
I didn't need music. No music. Solemn occasion, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
God, it saves me from really dealing with it, because I think I figured my wonderful technical problems out, so we're good.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
I do like that Iron Sheik theme song, but I think there's a time and a place for it.
Yeah, when he's ripping somebody a new one, or
Yeah.
He's,
We don't need all
usual-
the gimmicks, man. We don't need all the gimmicks. This was a solemn show. That's why we're keeping
Yeah.
it simple and stupid.
simple.
Nick.
Yeah, I'm over on YouTube at the Gaming Pegasus 187, Twitter, Gaming 187, Facebook, /MMA Revolution Facebook group. We're all talking about Samoa Joe winning the title and all that good shit. Just stuff popping up, all the good stuff. Instagram, Xbox Live, Wii U, Pegasus 187, Supercard, same damn thing. I'm all over the place. I'm editing the show. I'll have it up probably tonight before I go to work tomorrow night, just whenever. But it's going to be a short show. It really wasn't much, but it was jam-packed. It was short but sweet. Best way to put it, and I've got a drink to finish.
We don't like to be long-winded, man. I like to just keep it concise. We had a lot of things to talk about. We got it over with in a relatively short period of time. I think that's good.
Yep.
So, hey, brethren, all hope on the Twitter. That's where you can hear all my random musings on things, whatever I'm reading, watching, doing, playing, eating, smoking.
Yesterday was for 20.
I don't need excuses. I don't need holidays to smoke. That's all I'm saying.
But there's an excuse, man.
I'm high all the time. That's my secret, Cap.
Hell yeah. When you're high all the time, you don't need a special day to smoke.
Exactly, bro. Brando Calrissian 420 on the Twitch. I got some more Twitch. I'm going to stream next weekend at some point in time. I'm probably going to stream probably an entire day while I'm at my cousin's house because I will have literally nothing else to do with myself. So check that out when that comes on my stream channel. Twitch.tv, Brando Calrissian 420. Premier Pals, Nerd Chronicles are my other podcasts. Check them out on Facebook and Twitters. Go support independent wrestling because, and independent MMA, I guess.
Yep.
But mostly independent wrestling because that's where you see really the grassroots of this sport and where you will see the next generation possibly coming up. And, it's a good night out for your friends and family.
Yeah. Tommy Dreamer's coming to my hometown, so...
Is he bringing the House of Hardcore, or is he just showing up?
He's showing up for a show. It's that same event I went to last year with Scott Steiner. So...
Man, there's nothing finer than Scott Steiner, that's all I'm going to say. So for the absent Dave Wade, for Michael Burhan, for Miguel Leon, for Nick Horaceck, I am Brandon Liggan, saying go forth and spread beauty and light. Peace, love, and humptiness. Play my damn theme song, I guess, or something. No theme song? I don't even know anymore. Yay.